MRSA Section 403-A. Welcome to the Sanford Planning Board meeting for February 15th, 2023. This meeting will come to order. This is a public proceeding, and unless the board specifically votes to go into executive session, you have the right to hear everything that is being said and to look at all the exhibits that are offered. Please notify the chair if you are unable to hear or see something. Please know that if any member of the planning board has potential conflicts of interest of which they are aware, they will disclose the conflict prior to the board initiating a hearing or action on an application. Since there's a public hearing, all persons speaking will be asked to state your name and address, then proceed. At the sole discretion of the chair, public testimony may be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. For each item, the applicant will be asked to describe the project. Thereafter, the chair will ask the proponents of the project to speak, followed by opponents, and then by those who are neither for nor against, but who may want to ask a question or make a general comment. Everyone who wants will have an opportunity to speak to the board through the chair. Any questions must go to and through the chair, who will then decide at what point to either ask staff or the applicant to respond. The chair may wait until after testimony has concluded to seek answers to any questions that are raised by the public or board members. Please note that rudeness, uncivil behavior, clapping, cheering, booing, etc. will not be tolerated, and if these behaviors occur, the chair at his sole discretion may terminate the hearing and reschedule for another date. In addition, the chair at his sole discretion will limit repetitious comments throughout though it is entirely appropriate for an individual to indicate that he or she agrees with a previous speaker. Prior to closing the public hearing, the chair will ask if there are any new comments, then the applicant will be allowed to make a single rebuttal in response to the testimony which was provided. Once the public hearing portion of the meeting is closed, the chair will accept no additional public comment. However, a member of the board at the chair's discretion may ask the applicant or a member of the public to respond to a question. This will not reopen public comment. Planning board decisions are based solely on whether an applicant has provided sufficient evidence to meet the requirements of local, state, and federal laws. In this regard, public testimony is most effective when it considers the impacts of a project in light of Sanford subdivision, site plan, shoreland, or zoning ordinances, and any other relevant regulations. After the board discusses the merits of each project, it will vote on the written findings of fact. Since the findings may substantially affect any appeals rights, and also as a matter of courtesy, the board asks that those that are attending the meeting not leave until the board has adopted the findings for the project you are interested in. After the planning board makes its final decision, any reconsideration by the board must be made at the next regularly scheduled meeting. If anyone wishes to appeal the board's final decision, he or she must do so within 30 days. The city's ordinance and comprehensive plan are available for viewing on the city's website and in the Planning and Development Department's office at 919 Main Street. Remember, this is a public proceeding. You have the right to hear and see what is happening, and we welcome participation. All right. Now we get through that. Getting to our agenda, I think we have minutes to approve. So just for reference, Lenny, Jack, Oliver, Crystal, and myself were here. So, do I hear a motion?
I'll second.
Second? All in favor? All opposed? And 2 abstentions. All right. So moving on to new business, file number M28-27, Hanson's Ridge Road. We're going to be talking about a proposed zoning change. Jamie, do you want to get us centered on this before we hear from the applicant?
Yes, good evening, thank you. The applicant is requesting to rezone a parcel on Hanson's Ridge Road, tax map M28, lot 27, from single-family residential to urban zone. The reference parcel contains all of the parking for the dwelling on the adjacent parcel M2828 and the access to parcel M2829, all of which are currently under contract by the applicant. The zone change from single-family to urban would allow the applicant to split Lot 27 to address the parking for Lot 28 and access for Lot 29.
Great. Would you like to tell us about this project or about the proposed change?
Yep. I have the. So you can see M2827.
Could you just for the record, state your name and address, please?
Yep, Rebecca Lapierre, Flahan Drive in Sanford.
Okay, thank you.
As you can see here, M2827 is the parcel that sits in single-family residence, and that's what I'm looking to change into the urban zone. M2828 and M2829 are also the other two parcels that I have under contract that sit currently in the urban zone. And I'll go to the aerial view here. So all of the parking for M2828 is on M2827, and then looking to eventually make own frontage for access for M2829. So by making this non-conforming lot of M2827 to a legal conforming lot. Basically, everything what Jamie summarized.
All right, thank you. I'll now declare the public hearing open. To hear from anybody who is wants to speak in favor of this project. Anybody on Zoom? Nobody in the room. All right, anybody want to speak against this proposed change? Anybody want to speak neither for nor against, but wants to add anything? All right, declare the public hearing closed. All right, we'll open it up to the planning board to have any comments or discussion. All right, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Got to read it.
The planning board accepts the information in the February 14, 2023 Site Plan Review Committee recommendation and recommends that the City Council rezone tax map M2827, property owned by Kate Sabine and located at 3 Hanson's Ridge Road, from single-family residential to urban.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Right, all those in favor? All those opposed? None? Passes 6-0. Thank you. Good luck.
So, Rebecca, what will happen next is I have to take this to City Council subcommittee, and then it will be on the following City Council meeting after that. So we're still a little bit away, and I will let you know what subcommittee date is, so you can attend it. Right, we don't have any other, the next two hearings are both going to stay on the table, is that correct? That is correct. We have not received any updated information from either of those items. Okay. So moving on, Planning Director's report. Okay, so obviously it's still Jamie and not Beth, so Beth is still currently out on medical leave. I have talked to her a few times since our last meeting. She is still healing quietly at home. I don't have an estimated return date yet. I believe she was going back to the doctors at some point this week to find out what's next. We do have a major subdivision final on the agenda for March 1st. Lentigo Landon, the subdivision off of Sam Allen Road, and Nassau Community College redevelopment has applied. We're still waiting on one more piece of information, but I do believe the zone change and the major subdivision approval for that one will be the March 15th meeting. Codes and planning has continued to hold 3 or 4 pre-apps a week continuously now since, really the last 2.5 months. So we have a lot of projects in the pipeline. We're still finding that consultants are behind, so those ones really, I'm going to say hopefully slowly comes in and not 40 of them at once. That could be interesting if that happens. So we are hoping that they come in slowly, not all at the same time. We have a pre-app scheduled tomorrow for another minor subdivision. So I think all of our older subdivisions that have kind of been on the books for a while are now almost sold out. So we are going to start to see a continuous of smaller subdivisions coming in. I actually think we'll continue down that path to restock our available lots. While there was a little bit of a lag, we missed a planning board meeting. I gave you guys a week off. I don't think that's going to be a norm. I think now that we got the ball back rolling, we got everything back spinning, I think we're going to ramp it back up to fun-filled nights for you guys.
Perfect. All right, so moving on to communications. Anybody have anything they want to bring up?
I hate to bring this up, but mineral extraction,
Yeah, I have spoken with the city manager about that. I guess both of our expectations was that Beth would be back before now and we wouldn't have to proceed on that front without her. I have had the conversation with City Manager Buck that we both feel that needs to move forward, and pending the outcome of this week's doctor's appointment and the notification we received from Beth, if she doesn't move it forward, I am going to. So it will be coming back in the, I'm not going to say next meeting because it won't, but in the semi-near future, one way or the other, we're going to put that horse to bed.
the reason I ask is we have 2 new board members that may need to be brought up to speed.
We'll probably at least have one more work session for it, and I think at that point we can start to bring it up to speed. All of the planning board stuff is, the work sessions aren't recorded. We can bring them up to speed. If I feel comfortable we can get them there.
Yeah, because I was on the board when we first started down the path. So I know at least where the problems, or at least what was discussed as problems, were.
I wish I could say it was in a much different place than a year ago when you left it, but the same concerns that were being brought up a year ago are still the ones being brought up today. So it's going to be like you never left, Jace.
Up to speed. Right, anybody else have anything they want to? I guess I'll just throw out, thank you, Jamie and Alex, for kind of picking up the slack here. It's hard doing 2 jobs. Been there, done that, so it's.
I appreciate it. We are doing our best. There are a few little snafus that come up along the way. For instance, I had forgot that I needed to get some new members, some equipment and some emails. I will say from all of you guys, don't be bashful. If I'm forgetting to do something or I need to do something, please do bring it to my attention. I won't hold it against you. In fact, I'll thank you for it. As I've said every meeting now, I've always been part of the planning process, but I've never been the planning process. So I am still learning every day. Some good, some bad, but I'm still learning every day. So I welcome any guidance or assistance that you guys feel would make me a better planning director in her absence. You can, definitely. She keeps me straight 10 hours a day. Tries to, at least.
Great.
I could not do it without her assistance, so she is equally as deserving of praise what you did. But she is also putting in blood, sweat, and tears, along with Jan. Jan has picked up duties she never thought she would have to do, and she's doing it with a smile on her face. And we are doing it as a team effort, and it takes a village, and we got a village working.
Great.
But again, we have worked through a substantial backlog. You've noticed some of this stuff is stuff you haven't seen in a while because it's the stuff that was kind of pushed aside because we didn't have time to get to it. My goal when I first started was to try to get through all the stuff that's been kind of on the back burner because we didn't have time for it when the big projects were in between limbo. So I thank you guys for doing some of the stuff that's not familiar with you. We have another zone change that hasn't submitted yet, but we've had the pre-app for, so there'll be another one of these little ones. But then we got some good stuff coming too, so I think it's going to be a good year to come. I think it's going to be good for Sanford. I'll put on my code enforcement hat just to say it as well. Code enforcement, building projects have not slowed down. I was worried with COVID. I was worried with interest rates. I was worried with plywood costing $100 a sheet. And so far, none of that has dampened the process. So I think we're in good shape. I think we're going to have another good year.
Great. All right, so I'll just, we can touch base on the training tomorrow. Is everybody's plan to just do it from home then?
Yes, please.
Okay. So Jamie, we won't need the space here. We'll just do it all remotely. So that'll work.
Who will send us the Zoom?
You should have it in your email.
Okay, good.
We've got like 16 emails on it.
Yeah. Could you just forward me the
Yeah,
information?
I'll get you this stuff. Okay. I'd entertain anybody entertain a,
Motion, second.
all in favor? All opposed?